So as part of Build Back Better, Delta Airlines is offering passengers almost $10,000 to switch flights. This is a report on that story. Now, if I would have seen this headline like elsewhere other than CBS or NBC, I would have said, that's nonsense. There is no way an airline is going to pay $10K. Hey, we need your seat so bad. We have so many canceled flights that we're going to pay you $10K right now. If you've got Apple Pay or whatever it is, that money could be in your account right now. Would you like to get off this plane? Would you like to deplane and, put a little cash in your pocket electronically, like right now? That's a situation passengers had this past week. I think this past week, airlines canceled like 21,000 flights, and we are staring down. By the time you listen to this, 4th of July will probably be over. I'm recording this right before 4th of July. And the airline industry just cancellation, left, right, and center. That's also part of Build Back Better. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, offering $10K to passengers to get the F off a plane, canceling just about 21,000 flights, all part of Build Back. Doesn't that feel like Building Back Better? 21,000 flights canceled. Massive incentives for passengers to get off planes. Not to go where they're intended to go, not to go to be with their families, go work at their job, whatever it is they might be flying for. Build Back Better, right? Yeah. All right. This is what we're talking about today. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies, and we do this. We read the news. We read important stories that you need to know. Yeah. 10 grand, right? I mean, what are we even doing here? 10K. If somebody said, hey, you know what? You're going to have to figure out your own way home, but for 10K, we're going to take that seat from you. I probably, unless I had something really pressing going on, and for 10K, I'm not sure what that would be. Is it a connecting flight that I'm super tired from? Did I just fly in from wherever? Did I just fly in from Australia, a 14-hour, 11-hour shot from Honolulu? If I did, I might say, you know what? I'm so tired. That is really tempting. I'd still think about it. I mean, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money we're talking about here, right? Yeah, wild. So this is where we're at with our, transportation issues. Wonder how Pete's doing with that, right? Passenger with the ticket on an oversold Delta flight said he and other passengers were offered $10,000 to give up their seats and travel at a later date, according to a report in Inc. magazine. All right. So let's say that person is doing domestic travel. They're not flying anywhere, internationally. You take a bus, you take a plane, you hire a limo for however far you need to get. You're still going to come out ahead. Uber halfway across the country. I bet you still come out ahead. Inc. tech columnist Jason Aten said he and his family recently traveled on a Delta Airlines flight to Minneapolis. And so middle of the country, right? And that passengers on the oversold flight were offered a whopping $10,000 in cash, not flight credit, cold hard cash, to give up their seats. Delta sought 8 volunteers, according to Alton's account of the event. If you have Apple Pay, and this is a quote from the flight attendant, if you have Apple Pay, you'll even have the money right now. They are selling this hard. I mean, you'd think about it, wouldn't you? I know you think about it. You get on that plane, somebody says, because I often think, all right, I usually fly alone. I just do. I'm flying to my parents, flying to Hawaii, flying wherever, going to see my family somewhere. Significant other doesn't come. She's doing her own thing. My kids travel a lot on their own. My son Kieran right now, I think, is in Denver. He jets off for weekends. Who knows where, all over. Dad, I'll be back for the 4th though. Okay. All right. We'll see you then, son. Love you. And that's how it goes. Sometimes he's going on international Mexico last week or something. I don't know. Bachelor parties. My kids are at that age where they're either going to weddings or bachelor parties or, that kind of nonsense. Anywho, if you have Apple Pay, you'll have the money right now. So what does that tell you? That tells you that these airlines are absolutely scrambling. And when you cancel 20,800 flights this past week, when you cancel that many flights, how many pissed off passengers do you think you have? Or non-passengers in the case? It's impacting business throughout the United States. It's impacting the economy. It's impacting anything that has to do with air travel, right? But don't worry. This is all part and parcel of Build Back Better. Huh. Yeah. Well, yeah. Right? A lot of people are saying, hey, how about all those pilots who didn't get their vaccination and they're no longer piloting in the skies? Huh. Could have used them. Could use them. What's going on there? Yeah, a lot of pilots, right? We just have a massive shortage of pilots. And there's a bunch of things going on there. But the bottom line is the airlines just they just don't have enough pilots to fly those planes across the sky. I never really wanted to be a pilot. People always ask, wouldn't you want your own plane? No, not really. No, flying? No, I like to fly. I enjoy flying. I don't have a problem flying. But it's not something I'm ever going to, I need to get that pilot's license. I need to, put my own life in danger being the only one behind the wheel of a plane. Yeah. Or the stick of a plane, I guess it is. I don't know. No, I'm okay in a boat doing that because, I'm not a very good captain either. So I figure if something happens on my boat, at least I can float out of there. In a plane, you're going to hurtle to the earth and blow up. So, there's that. And other people talk about what if you had a helicopter? No. So many people go down in helicopters. I'm a hard no-go on that. Although Bill Burr talks about when the zombie apocalypse comes, the helicopter, boop, 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 up in the air and away you go. It's the ultimate getaway vehicle. I do not disagree with him. The incident occurred at a time when passengers are struggling with air delays and flight cancellations, with the July 4th weekend expected to be chaotic for airlines and travelers. Chaos. I traveled a handful of times during the pandemic early on because I just kind of wanted to see how it was going. And it was also kind of a big FU to, hey, you need to stay home and hunker down, and you need to just sit in a closet and, twiddle your thumbs and just be thankful that you don't have COVID and you're not spreading it elsewhere. I went out traveling. That's just that's what I thought was important to do. So some 3.5 million people are expected to fly this holiday weekend amid rising COVID-19 infections. Okay. You remember when that used to count for something amid rising COVID-19 infections? It doesn't seem to really count for anything now, does it? Cases are up. Who cares? Actually, nobody's even saying who cares. People just aren't paying attention because we're over it. I was talking to a young lady / could have been young man. I'm not sure. I don't want to misname somebody. I don't know what they were, but their hair wasn't regular color. You know what I mean? And even they were saying, I don't think they probably catch my podcast, if you get my drift. They were even saying, yeah, the whole COVID thing, that was really annoying. They were over it. 6 months ago, they would have been just all up in arms about, oh, stay away, wear your mask, we're going to wash our hands 45 times before breakfast. So we've got amid rising COVID-19 infections, staffing shortages, and widespread flight delays. Aten, he's the guy that he got offered. Aten did not volunteer to give up his seat. And Delta declined to comment on the incident. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Yeah, we're not talking. That's a lot of money. And for the airline, that's crazy. But how much do airlines make? How much are airlines making though right now? They got to be making some money. It got to be making up for that lost revenue though during that whole year or 2 years during the pandemic where they weren't flying, where they just, planes in the skies, not really a happening, and nobody was flying. It was a wild time, right? You go to the airport, it's just empty. And you're like, should I be here? Is this a good idea? I remember I flew down to Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona, the spring of, I think it was the April or May of 2020, in the heart of the pandemic. President Trump was talking about a glorious, glorious Easter. Yeah, we didn't have that. That did not happen. But, if you talk about it, maybe it'll happen. So I flew down there and man, airlines were dead then. The airport was dead. There was no wait. Nobody was flying. Now, everybody and their mother literally are flying. But the airline did confirm that in general, it offers passengers varying levels of compensation in exchange for giving up their seats on overbooked flights. And all in an effort to get planes off the ground in a timely manner. We will do whatever it takes to keep us on the clock. On the clock. That's what it's all about, because we're all about punctuality. Now they've got scheduling, right? They've got pilots getting scheduled. What a mess. Got locations. You ever hear somebody talk about their schedule and when they get rocked and you got a cancellation? It just sounds really difficult, doesn't it? And I'm like, I just want to get from point A to point B, which is typically a vacation destination. So therefore, if somebody offered me 10 grand, I would probably say, yes, thank you very little. I will camp out here in the airport until the next flight comes along. Maybe I'll do a little podcasting from the airport. I don't know. So the ability to provide compensation on full flights empowers our employees' efforts to care for customers and get aircraft out on time. That's the official word from a Delta spokesperson. When we provide compensation to our beloved flight customers who happen to be located on full flights because, we've overbooked and overscheduled. Oh, never mind. We don't have enough pilots because of, build back. Oh, we're not supposed to say that either. When we have our beloved passengers on full flights and our employees' efforts to care for them includes compensation. Yeah. You gotta love corporate speak, right? What's the spokesperson gonna say? Delta upped its compensation limit for passengers who switched flights back in 2017, according to a CNBC report. CNBC wouldn't lie to us, would they? CBS News wouldn't lie to us, would they? They might. I think either one of those you got a 50-50 on the truth being accurate. But I did look at 2 other websites to confirm this article. It appears mostly correct. The policy change allowed the company's customer service agents to offer passengers $9,950 in compensation. How'd you like to sit in that little meeting there? Hey, I think they're offering $1,350. And it's up from a maximum payout of $1,350, although Aten said he was offered $10,000 to switch flights. The exact number was likely $9,950. See, he was exaggerating. He was bumping up by $50. That makes all the difference in the world. For $9,950, I'd still get off the effing plane, right? I mean, $50 less. That is that's a boatload. I almost said buttload, but we're not really supposed to talk that way. So anyway, it's a boatload. And when I get a free flight offer, I think about that. Hey, you want a free flight to Hawaii? All right. So I'm going to get in 14 hours later. I'm going to be up all night unless I go get a hotel, spend a bunch of money, get this free flight. And you're like, But for $99.50, I'm your man. You tell me which door I walk out of and I'll do it. That's kind of where I would be. Probably. Yeah. Unless I was going to a really cool concert somewhere, like a one-off concert that I couldn't do otherwise. You're going to miss your concert. Okay, that's a tough call. A voluntary denied boarding is when a customer volunteers to be bumped from a flight in exchange for compensation. So we're talking about a voluntary denial, a voluntary boarding denial. I would like one of those, please, for $10,000. Nope, $99.50. Sold. To avoid headaches at the airport, experts urge travelers to fly direct when possible. Avoid checking luggage and to give themselves at least a day or two of a buffer if they are traveling for an important event in case their flight is canceled or delayed. So we would like to be able to expressly offer you services of our flight. However, you may not get them. So build in an extra day to all of your flight plans, to your family's schedule. 4th of July does fall on 4th of July, that whole thing. So the whole holiday deal, that might get problematic. Hey, would you mind taking this later flight and celebrating a major holiday later? No, people don't want to do that, do they? And that's why they absolutely lose their minds when they can't make their flights. It's a huge hassle, especially when you got little kids. I mean, you remember planes, trains, and automobiles? I mean, that's a perfect example of just, logistics. What was the other movie I was watching the other day? Oh, Midnight Run. Oh, such a good movie. Josh, the accountant in that movie, he faked that he didn't want to take a plane, right? And so the bounty hunter, who was that? I forget who that was. But anyway, you can't take a plane. Oh, I've got to take a bus. Oh, what a pain in the rear. Or how about, what was it? Home Alone? The mom was trying to desperately get back to her son, but, due to booking like this, and they had a big crew too. So flying, difficult. All this other stuff, you want to get on a bus? Yeah, you can probably do that. It's not the same time travel. It doesn't. It's kind of like Kamala Harris was talking about, and time happens and there's a, universal time, and there's a time thing, that whole thing. All of this has to do with Build Back Better, because that's just not happening. Neither is airlines flying on time. Neither is airlines flying in general, to the tune of 21,000 flights last week, 20,800. And some people are being compensated extremely well for all of this. Yeah. I mean, it's just, when I saw these numbers, I'm like, okay, that's not normal. This is more of a business podcast, but it's so beyond the realm of reasonable. We got to talk about it. So we just did. So if you are, maybe make it your goal to buy the cheapest Delta flight you can and see if you're one of those lucky people. Would you like to voluntarily deboard this plane? We will offer you up to $9,950. Sold. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Hope you had a great 4th of July. That's it. Bye for now.